Leviticus Chapter 14, the law of cleansing a leper. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, This shall be the law of the leper on the day of his ceremonial cleansing. He shall be brought up to the priest at a meeting place outside the camp. And the priest shall go out to the camp to meet him, and the priest shall examine him. If the leper has been healed of the infection of leprosy, then the priest shall give orders to take 2 clean birds, live ones, and cedar wood, and scarlet string, and a hyssop for the one to be cleansed. Next, the priest shall order that one of the birds be killed in an earthenware container over fresh running water. As for the live bird, he shall take it together with the cedar wood and the scarlet string and the hyssop, and he shall dip them with the live bird in the blood of the bird sacrificed over the running water. He shall sprinkle the blood 7 times on the one to be cleansed from the leprosy, and shall pronounce him unclean or clean. Then he shall let the live bird go free over the open field. The one to be cleansed shall wash his clothes, shave off all his hair, and bathe in water and be clean. After that he may come into the camp, but he shall stay outside of his tent for 7 days. On the 7th day he shall shave all his hair. He shall shave his head and his beard and his eyebrows, even all his hair on his body. Then he shall wash his clothes and bathe his body in water and be clean. Now on the 8th day he shall take 2 male lambs without blemish and a yearling ewe lamb without blemish, and 3/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with olive oil as a grain offering, and 1 log, about a pint of oil. And the priest who cleanses him shall present the man to be cleansed and his offerings before the Lord at the doorway of the tent of meeting. Then the priest shall take one of the male lambs and offer it as a guilt offering with the log of oil, present them as a wave offering before the Lord. He shall kill the male lamb in the place where they killed the sin offering and the burnt offering, the sacred place. The courtyard of the tabernacle for the guilt offering, like the sin offering, belongs to the priest. It is most holy. The priest shall take some of the blood of the guilt offerings and put it on the lobe of the right ear of the one to be cleansed, and on the thumb of the right hand, and on the big toe of the right foot. Did you remember that from when he did that to Aaron? That's good. The priest shall also take some of the log of oil and pour it on the palm of his own left hand. And the priest shall dip his right finger in the oil, and that it is on his left palm, and with his finger sprinkle some of the oil 7 times before the Lord. Of the rest of the oil which is in his palm, the priest shall put some of his on his lobe of the right ear of the one to be cleansed, on the thumb of his right hand, and his big toe of his right foot, and on top of the blood of the guilt offerings. The remaining oil that is in the priest's palm shall be put on the head of the one to be cleansed. The priest shall make atonement for him before the Lord. Next the priest shall offer the sin offering and make atonement for the one to be cleansed from his uncleanliness, and afterward kill the burnt offering. The priest shall offer the burnt offerings and the grain offerings on the altar, and the priest shall make atonement for him, and he shall be clean. But if the cleansed leper is poor and his means are insufficient, then he is to take 1 lamb as a guilt offering to be waved to make atonement for him, and 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, and a log of oil, and 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, such as he can afford. One shall be a sin and the other a burnt. He shall bring them on the 8th day for his cleansing to the priest at the doorway of the tent of meetings before the Lord. The priest shall take the lamb of the guilt offerings and the log of oil, and shall present them as a wave offering before the Lord. Then he shall kill the lamb of the guilt offerings, and the priest is to take some of the blood of the guilt offerings and put it on the lobe of the right ear of the one to be cleansed, on the thumb of his right hand, and the big toe of his right foot. The priest shall pour some of the oil into his left palm with his right finger. The priest shall sprinkle some of the oil in his left palm 7 times before the Lord. The priest shall put some of the oil in his palm on the lobe of his right ear of the one to be cleansed, and on the thumb of his right hand, on the big toe of his right foot, on the place where he has put the blood of the guilt offering. The rest of the oil is in the priest's palm. He shall put on the head to the one to be cleansed. Then he shall offer one of the 2 turtle doves or young pigeons, which are within his means. He shall offer what he can afford. One is a sin offering, and the other is a burnt offering. The priest shall make atonement before the Lord on behalf of the one to be cleansed. This is a law for the one in whom there is an infection of leprosy, which means are limited for his ceremonial cleansing. It's pretty good because he's very specific on what to do. It's like, okay, this, and this, but this is what you do if you do this one. It's just very set, and I like that. Cleansing of an infected house. The Lord further spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, when you come into the land of Canaan, which I am giving you as a possession, I put a mark of leprosy on a house in your land. Then the one who owns the house shall come and tell the priest, I have seen something that looks like a mark of leprosy in my house. The priest shall order that they empty the house before he goes in to examine the mark, so that everything in the house will not have to be declared unclean. Afterward he shall go in to see the house. He shall examine the mark, and if the mark on the walls of the house has greenish or reddish depressions, and they appear deeper than the surface, the priest shall go out of the house to the doorway and quarantine the house for 7 days. The priest shall return on the 7th day and look, and if the mark has spread, he shall order them to tear out the contaminated stones and throw them into an unclean place outside the city. He shall have the entire inside area of the house scraped, and the plaster that is scraped off shall be dumped in an unclean place outside the city. Then they shall take new stones and replace the contaminated ones, and he shall take plaster and replaster the house. If, however, the mark breaks out again in the house after he has removed the stones and has scraped and replastered the house, and the priest shall come and look, if the mark has spread, it is a malignant leprosy in the house. It is ceremonially unclean. He shall tear down that house, its stone and its timbers, and all the plaster of the house, and shall take everything outside of the city to an unclean place. Moreover, whoever goes into that house during that time that it is quarantined become unclean until evening. And whoever lies down in the house to rest shall wash his clothes, and whoever eats in that house shall wash his clothes. But if the priest comes in and inspects it, and mark has not spread in the house, after the house has been replastered, then they shall pronounce the house clean, because the mark has not reappeared. To cleansing the house then he shall take 2 birds, and cedar wood, and scarlet string, and hyssop. And he shall kill one of the birds in an earthenware container over running water. And he shall take the cedar wood, and the hyssop, and the scarlet string, and the living bird, and dip them in the blood of the slain bird as well in the running water, and sprinkle the house 7 times. So he shall cleanse the house with the blood of the bird, and with the running water, along with the live bird, and the cedar wood, and the hyssop, and the scarlet string. But he shall let the bird go free outside of the city into the open field, and he shall make atonement for the house, and it will be clean. This is the law for any mark of leprosy, even for a scale, and for the leprous garment or house, and for swelling, and for a scab, and for a bright spot on the skin, to teach them they are unclean, and when they are clean, this is the law of leprosy in regards to both persons and property. Knowing everything you can about leprosy. So this is your daily Bible chapter reading God's Word Monday through Friday. See you tomorrow.